underscoring the legal precedent for such actions. We will try during the course of this edition of the Right Stand to also connect with the trustee of the Gaali Anjaneya Temple. T.R. Prasadagoda, meanwhile, leader of the Bear Congress with us, joining us via Zoom. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, political commentator, scientist and also author of many books. One of them questions the status of Hindu citizens in Hindustan. And Mohan Vishwa, spokesperson of the Karnataka BJP with us. My namaste and Jai Hind to everybody. Thank you for your time. Now, Mohan Vishwa, what is the issue here? Why are the temple trustee and the temple devotees saying that is a forceful takeover by the state?
See, Anand, good evening. Thank you for me having in the show. See, if you look at this particular case, Gaali Anjaneya Temple, if you are also from Bengaluru, you might be knowing. It's very famous, especially for me as a young boy. During my childhood also, our family used to go regularly. So such a big temple, such a good temple, and people trust the temple a lot. But there was an allegation
deep belief also, that it removes away all obstacles and evil. And you go there and pray and it also supposed to be really removing ailments on children, on people. There's a lot of deep faith on this temple. Yes, please, go ahead. I have been
exactly. So that's why it is called as Gaali Anjaneya. So Gali means that negative energy, whatever. Okay. So if you look at these allegations, whatever they've made, there was an allegation against the management, which has happened a year ago. After that, the priest of the temple have confirmed recently. I was looking at the news report that the 2 executive members who are involved in that have been sacked by the management, and also the 2 cooks over there in the temple also have been sacked. So after 1 year of all this, the government has started intervening now. See, this is nothing but a bankrupt government who's looking for funds and money everywhere. I want to give one more example recently what happened. See, the Mysore famous Chamundi Hills temple, so it was under a different management earlier. So recently there was a Chamundeshwari Development Board has been started by the state government and taken over, and they run the show. If you look at the recent incident happened and a week ago in Chamundi temple, they charged 2,000 rupees for devotees to get an entry for the first time in the history of the temple. Till then, when it was not under government control, not even a single rupee was being charged for VIP fees or whatever. So just 2,000 rupees as a ticket. So this is how they manage the Chamundeshwari temple, which was not under government earlier, now under coming government. And also this particular government, as I told you, why do they target only Hindu temples? I can give you hundreds of examples. For example, in the same Bangalore, there is one more protest which was going on March 14, 2025. It was against Methodist Church led by former Bishop Mr. N.L. Karkare. There was an allegation against Mr. N.L. Karkare for misusing the funds of Methodist Church and Baldwin's group of institutions, you might be knowing, which is very famous. There was an allegation, there was a protest also in the Freedom Park. There was an allegation of mismanagement of more than 300 to 400 crores funds. So even after having allegation, even after having protest, see, this government is not interested in taking over the management. Come on, in Gaali Anjaneya Temple, if there are allegations in the management, the court is there, the police is there, the case would have been filed, the court would have decided. And in a hurry, in just 1 year, this government, there was no need to take over immediately. And I would like to quote
theft of hundis, Mr. Prasadagoda, is not equal to misappropriation of funds. Misappropriation of funds has to be proven in court before the state takes over.
Actually, taking Gaali Anjaneya Temple, under the government thing, one should feel happy because we have taken the temple under the Hindu Law Act and to the Muzrai Department. Well, and the reason behind this is from 2001 to till today, they have not shown any in the treasury there is a zero balance, one thing, and lot of complaints against the trust. And one more thing, what if government take over the temple and every priest that will be paid by the government and everything will be run by the Muzrai Department, and for that we have taken it under the Hindu Law Act, and everything will be audited and it will be taken care by the government itself. And for this, if our opposition people say if it is a bad thing, they have to explain us and enlighten us how we should do it. And when it is taken by the government is responsible for all the events which is going to happen. Of course, even I also live in the same room. I also same in the. Everybody wants to go to Gaali Anjaneya Temple for all. For it's a sacred place. Everybody, even our Congress MLA is there in that area. M. Krishnappa is our MLA there, and Priya Krishna is our MLA. They are taking care of all the events. They are taking care of all the events, each and every event, and they will be funding all the events. So
how will they fund?
Whether they are in power or not, they are taking care of this.
So you're saying they are donors, they are patrons of the temple.
Okay. And if 1 minute, if the temple is taken over by the government, they should feel happy because government will take care of everything and responsibility of the government. We have taken it under the Hindu Law Act to the Muzrai government.
So why don't you have the same sentiment with the Methodist Church where allegation was Mr. Prasad Gowda?
10 to 12 priests are working there. They will be covered and salary will be given by the government.
No, but right now the temple is paying them the salaries. They're saying they are not getting the salary. Why should it concern the government whether the treasury is empty or not, as long as the temple is not demanding funds from the government?
When there is a these are the things not to be debated only, because when there is a continuous complaint by the trust itself.
No, but have you proven that in court? No. Have you been able to prove that in court? One. Secondly, sir, why is the Muzrai Department only looking at Hindu temples? Now there was a complaint, like Mr. Mohan Vishwa said, that there
temple in the state of Karnataka will be looked very seriously. Very seriously, we are taking care of each and every.
So have you taken over the Methodist Church, sir?
Everybody is equal.
Have you taken over the administration of the Baldwin High School and the Methodist Church based on the complaints raised in May 2025?
Sir, that depends on the complaints, and that will be scrutiny will be there. Everything will be.
No, so where is the scrutiny here?
No,
one hundi theft is equal to misappropriation of funds.
Sir, that is one of the reason. There are many other things also.
Have you been able to prove that in a court of law? Why is it that the temple has to go to the court and the government does not have to prove it in court?
Now other portion of the people have gone to the court. Our government definitely will put everything across to the court, and
why do you
will
take
be
over
able to prove
till
in
then?
the court.
No, one thing is, viewers, we need to tell you that this video is more than a year old. What you are seeing on our screens right now happened on the 30th of September 2024. It is an old video. It is not the latest one. And after action has been taken against the perpetrators, the people who are involved in stealing from the hundi collection, this is an act of stealth. And those people should be punished by law. Action has been taken by the temple. But this has been deemed as misappropriation of funds. Now, what is misappropriation of funds according to who? Have they been able to prove this in the court of law? Are there a set of trustees, the hereditary trustees, who have come out in court or lodged a complaint that there is misappropriation of funds? These are all questions, valid questions that need to be asked. Mohan Vishwa, has something like that happened, Mohan Vishwa? Has any of the trustees come out and said there is brazen misappropriation of funds? Money has been stolen?
No, nothing like that happened. Like as I told you earlier, 2 executive committee members were sacked way back, and also the 2 cooks who were involved have been sacked way back. After that, the temple were running successfully.
So action has been taken.
This government came. See, this government came in between, and they have given, I don't know, they say some report, something and all they're quoting. Like as I said, it is not even proven in the court also. Nothing has happened. See, if that is the case, Anand, I have one more example. So let our friend, answer this. See, there was a protest in Dharwad in 2024 August also, alleging that there was a misappropriation of funds in more than 94 churches across North Karnataka, which comes under CSI. So what action these people have taken? It's not only Methodist Church and Baldwin, it's almost 94 churches in Karnataka's North region. Nothing has been taken. Why? Why this government is keeping quiet? When it comes to only Hindu temples, this government steps in even before going to the court or even proving into the court. Come on, if that is the case, let's talk about Waqf Board then. What about misappropriation of funds in Waqf Board in Karnataka state? The allegation was against AICC chief himself. What action they have been taken? It has been more than 10-12 years. What question they have? More than 2 lakh crores of misappropriation of fund. What question they have?
I'm not even getting into the Waqf Board. My point is the alacrity or when there was misappropriation, when it happened, at that time action has been taken. Why take over this temple now, when there are other cases of misappropriation and similar action has not been taken? So is it only because it is the Hindu temple and that there are going to be big collections? That's the question. The other thing is, before I bring in Dr. Ranganathan, let's also listen into what the trustee of the temple has said. They have a reaction. He's spoken with CNN News 18. Let's listen into that.
The incident what has happened today between Gaali Anjaneya Swami and Muzrai, it's really unfair, and what people are doing is like they have given all the documents, these trust people, they have given all the documents to the Muzrai, to the court and to the High Court also, and even court has decided that nothing is misused and nothing has been tampered. And already they have dismissed the case, and over that we have given 500 pages of documents to the Muzrai Ilake. Muzrai Ilake is overlapping the duties, and without any intimation, without giving any notice, they have entered the temple. And they have seized all the undis and the jewelry strong room also. So I would like to demand, I would like to request the government, this is not fair.
Now, no notice has been given, Dr. Ranganathan. So how can a government do that? Something that happened 1 year ago, viewers. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan.
Good evening, Anand, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Look, the government can do anything it wants. Let's be very honest about it. And the fact of the matter is that state control of Hindu temples and their property is by far the largest, financially most damaging scam of independent India. Even using the petroleum sector as a cash cow, Anand, pales in comparison to the loot and pillaging that's going on of Hindu temples in the name of secularism. Anand, Hindus are easy to dupe and abuse. That is the reason. Because they don't behead transgressors. And the irony is that India has been branded a fascist Hindu Rashtra. I want to ask, what sort of a Hindu Rashtra is this? Those who want to eradicate Sanatan Dharma are controlling the temples of Sanatan Dharma. There is corruption in running mosques and hundreds of churches as well, like in Coimbatore, Jabalpur churches, in believers of Eastern Church, Kerala, Methodist Church, Fatehganj. But only Hindu temples are taken over by the government on the pretext of corruption. Why, I ask you, are the communists in Kerala, for whom religion is the opium of the masses, controlling 3,058 Hindu temples? Why is a Muslim appointed on Takeover board, a Christian on Tirupati board? Governments of just 10 states control more than 100,000 temples. Tamil Nadu government alone is controlling 36,425 temples. Karnataka government controlling more than 30 temples. Why? 30,000 temples. Why? What business is it of the state to levy an administrative charge between 5 to 21% on temples in the name of audit? What business is it of the state to dictate how many times a puja is to be conducted, who is to conduct it, who is qualified to be the priest? What business is it of the state to control tens of thousands of acres of temple land and then set rent on it? The loss to temples on account of this alone, Anand, is estimated over decades to be in lakhs of crores. In fact, according to activist T.R. Ramesh, who can be jailed any moment, Tamil Nadu government that should be earning 6,000 crores per annum from the 2.44 crore square feet of temple land it controls, earns a mere 58 crores, not even 1%. Yes. A petition to free Hindu temples is pending in the Supreme Court since 2012. They can allow midnight hearings for terror accused, but not here. But then I ask you, and this is important, if the Congress can bring in a legislation to control Hindu temples in 1959, one that still stands, why can't the BJP bring in a legislation to override it?
We will.
Fact is, BJP is also using temple money for welfare scheme. BJP is also pillaging temples. You can have the state give Hajj subsidy for decades, use taxpayers' money to host grand iftar parties, plunder state coffers to pay monthly salaries to thousands of Maulvis, ask UGC run completely fund monetary institution to give 50% receipts. But that is all secularism. But the moment you ask the state to control churches and mosques, then it is not secularism.
Yeah. And I think it doesn't even work on those principles. I have to interrupt you because we have Prasad Panadar, the family member of the trust which is running the temple. Prasad is with us. Prasad ji, namaste. Thank you for your time. This is an incident that happened a year ago, but the government is saying you have not submitted documents since 2001. Your treasury is empty, one of the oldest temples, the Gaali Anjaneya Temple. And that is why misappropriation of funds, they have taken it over, so that the Muzrai can run this temple efficiently. Your response?
I don't know how they can run so sufficiently. It's okay, no problem. But we have submitted almost like 500 pages of document to the Muzrai also, and they have overlapped all the procedures, and they have taken into Muzrai. And we have the same documents has been asked by a public to the court, lower court. We have submitted all the documents, and court has gone through all the documents, and they have given clean sheet. They have dismissed the case.
The court has dismissed the case?
Yes, that is lower court.
Lower court has dismissed the case, okay.
Yes, for the same document, for the same allegations which has been made by Muzrai and the public. We have given almost like 25 years of statements, chartered accountant statements, and which has been signed and given by an auditor and a chartered accountant. And they have given the best account management certificate also. And I don't know how come it's misappropriation. In
But
what way.
Prasad Avare,
Yes.
what is the real story then? Tell our viewers that. What is happening?
See, actually, two people, we didn't know about this. Once we went through the CC camera check, we got to know. And we have thrown them out of the temple, and we have recovered the entire money what they have stolen while the counting was happening.
Yeah, that was a year ago, right? September last year, September 24.
Yes.
Correct. So after
and
that...
we have recovered, and we have deposited the money to the bank, and we have the challan also. And we were supposed to go and give a complaint to the police station. Before that, a person took initiative, and he has given on his public interest, saying that so-and-so has been happened. And they have registered an FIR on them. In between this, we have thrown two trustees. There was some obligations between their families and their family disputes, and they were like, we need to come enter. And they were also a little corruptive, so trust was like, they denied them and took youngsters who are well educated from the same family.
Right.
Okay, according to the bylaw, we have followed that. So those people have taken some more videos from the temple, and they have edited and made the entire trustees are thieves, and they are taking the money. I can send you the video also, which they have edited, and what the real video is also. All this mess happened. After that, we went to court, and we got clean sheet. So an FIR has been quashed also.
Okay.
The other trustees also have been included in the FIR, saying that even they have done the test.
Okay.
So everything was cleared.
So if
and all of a sudden, how come this Muzrai came?
Did the Muzrai give you any notice?
Once they give notice, no procedure, nothing. My advocates, they went there. They have given all the documents. They requested them so much, saying that what's happening, at least you can tell something. It's completely overlap of a procedure.
What are you going to do now?
Now we have filed a petition to Honorable High Court. Today it was supposed to list, but it's going to list on tomorrow. So hopefully we have hopes on justice. So tomorrow we'll.
So as of now, who is in control of the temple? Its books, its accounts, its treasury. Who's controlling it right now?
Books, all these things we have denied to give them because we have not even got a single rupee from the government, any government. Even Mr. Yediyurappa ji, he gave 2 crore rupees for the temple. All trustees gave it back to the government. Saying that no, we have enough funds. No problem, we're going to run it.
So you have enough funds, but the state is saying your treasury is empty.
We have almost like 3 crores of FD only for prasadam. That is only for prasadam.
So you have 3 crores of FDs for prasadam, but why is the state then saying your treasury is empty?
That is what they have zero knowledge. and they have not gone in depth.
Why is the state saying that they are going to give back this temple only after 5 years? What is the intent here, Prasad ji?
I don't know. Really, we don't know what's happening and what's their agenda. But what everybody's request is that, see, when you people, when it comes to church, when it comes to masjid, you people are like happy with them. Why not with the temple? Yes, theft has happened. We have taken action.
Yeah.
Everything is done.
Had you not taken action,
One-
they could have
one
gone to
second.
court and say that, listen, there is mismanagement happening. But you're saying you've
Exactly.
taken action. You're saying that the court has heard this matter, lower court,
Yes.
and they've quashed the FIR also, and they've given you a
Yes.
clean chit.
Yes, my advocate is Vamsi Krishna. He's from ATV Legal.
Huh.
Seriously, he has helped us a lot.
Huh.
He knows the truth.
Huh.
And then leave the. You people are happy with masjid. If you get gun, bombs, terrorists, you people are happy with them. But not with the temple. Only
Well.
for one small thing where we have followed all the procedures also.
Right. Okay. Prasad, so all the best for what happens in court, and we'll track that very carefully. Thank you very much.
Please,
I request you to
please,
please share the videos, the doctored and the original videos. And also with our team, if you can share your lawyer's number, Mr. Vamsi Krishna, we'll try and get him on the phone and get his point of view also. Thank you very much. This is all happening live here on the Right Stand. Going back to our guest, Prasad Panadar was the trustee of the Gaali Anjaneya Society, Temple Trust, beg your pardon, Gaali Anjaneya Temple Trust, and he has said what he has said. Now, Prasad Garu, what will you say now?
You're asking me.
Yes.
Let them prove if they feel our contention is they are utilized for the family, whole thing for the family. Earlier occasion also government used given the notice for the misappropriation. If there was no misappropriation, and as it and the local of the Aulali village and given continuous complaint to the government, and this family is misusing and misutilizing all the funds of the.
But where is the proof? I can claim
No.
whatever. One can claim whatever, but the government has to put out
Without
the proof. There's no
Nobody will
proof.
take my dear friend, without
Ji.
proof, nobody will take the action. We are not interested to take action on only one thing. When there is a proper, there are a lot of temples, so they are running by themselves. When there is a proof, then only it will come. When there is hundreds of complaints, then only government will step in. Government is not interested in just taking the temples into the government thing. Now we want everything to be. If they are right, let them fight it out and you let them prove. Then the law will take its own course of action. That's all I wanted to say this evening, sir.
Right. 1 minute, sir. Please stay on. Mohan Vishwa, what would you want to say? The government says they have
I would
complaints.
like to ask-
They will not take action without proof. But have they presented proof? Has there been a proper notice given to the temple authority with saying these are the cases of misappropriation, this is why we are putting your notice and this is why we are taking over? Has that happened, Mohan Vishwa? We've not seen those documents.
Anand, just now, I think whatever documents, whatever allegation is making, everything has been discussed and argued in the court. That's what I can understand from the statement of the trustee who just made it clear that the FIR also has been quashed and also the petition also has been quashed. Even after that, when everything has been shown in the court and he says that there is a 3 crore FD only for Prasadam. And the government says that there is no money, and also at the same time they claims that there is an allegation of misappropriation of funds and all, and everything has been thrown in the court, nothing has been thrown in the court, and today the government is asking the trustee to prove. Come on, who is alleging here? The government, the Muzrai Department. Okay, so they don't have anything, and they claim to say that there are no accounts from 25 years. Just now I heard the trustee saying that 25 years accounts signed by a chartered accountant has been submitted in the court. Then what else you want? What else you want? And also look at the irony, Anand. When it comes to temple, our Prasad Gowda is telling that whatever proof they have, let them quote. I'm again reiterating, what about the case of our Methodist Church? What action they're going to take against KL Karkare? There is an allegation of more than 300 to 400 crores. Come on, Baldwin's, it's very prestigious institution in Bangalore.
Right.
It is running for decades now. What action? When it comes to Hindu temple, the temple, they themselves should come out and prove. When it comes to churches and other things, they need not prove anything. So government can take whatever action they want and whatever they want to do.
Dr. Ranganathan?
Now, very quickly, look, it is not a question of whether Mr. Prasada is right or wrong. They have a government, they are following the law. the law is clearly discriminatory and anti-Hindu. So on one hand, you cannot fault the government or Mr. Gowda for following a law that is discriminatory. It's like saying, I believe Waqf Act is blatantly discriminatory. It is a barbaric act. But can you blame the government for following that act? No, because the act is wrong. Now here I asked my good friend Vishwa. His party was also in government in Karnataka. In fact, of the 94 churches that had blatant corruption, 33 were during the BJP reign in Karnataka. Why didn't the BJP government take over their churches? And number two, is he for relinquishing the state control over temples? He should answer these two questions.
T.R. Prasad Gowda ji?
No, end of the day, I can say only law will take its own course. If they have grievances, let them fight it out in the court. But whatever the government has done, clearly after examining and after taking the complaints from the people of Aulalli village and the rest of the local area, after that only they have received hundreds of complaints to the MLA, our local MLA there. Though when MLA was not in power, he used to fund the temple, all activities, family utilizing this temple as their own asset. That has given a lot of complaints by the local people, and if they feel they are good, let them submit their documents to the court for the inquiry committee. Inquiry committee is going to constitute. Let them face the inquiry committee.
Why should they go to the court? They have gone to the Muzrai Department and submitted the documents. Has there been a response from the Muzrai Department as per protocol?
This family, we have no business. This family utilizing this temple as their own.
It's a private temple, sir. They are the trustees. They are the trustees, and where are they utilizing it? And what do you mean that they have no business?
Trust is not family. Trust is a public. When we received complaints from the public, we need to act upon
who
that.
are these public? Who are the public? Are they vested interests who are wanting to seize control of the temple? Are they vested interests who have been caught in acts of corruption and ousted, and that is why they are creating a ruckus? Are they people who are close to the current disposition, political disposition, Mr. T.R. Prasad Gowda? Who are these people? And what legal ground and proof have they shown? If they have put out doctored videos as proof, then is that proof or is that perjury?
Without proof, government will not do anything, and we have taken over this temple according to
But where is the
law.
proof from the government, sir? The government has not even given a proper notice. The government has not even acknowledged that 500 pieces of documents given, sir. You heard the trustee himself, sir.
Our government will give you all the information. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Ranganathan.
Look, as I said, Mr. Gowda will speak the legalese that his government and the power of the state entitles him to. And I always apply the Anderson razor. I don't blame him. I blame the people who made the law, and I blame the people who continued that law. So, those two questions were to my very dear friend Vishwa. He should answer, why didn't the BJP government in Karnataka take over the churches that were mired in corruption? And number two, does he believe that the state should relinquish control over Hindu temples?
See, Anand, when we were in power, if you see our history also, our government during Yediyurappa's rule also, or Bommai's rule also, forcefully have not taken any action against any Hindu temples. In fact, we were the one who were given more funds compared to earlier governments.
Right.
Just now you heard saying the Gaali Anjaneya Temple trustee himself, where even though it doesn't come under Muzrai Temple, even though it comes under a separate trust altogether, we went ahead and giving around 2 crores of funds for the development of the particular temple. So that is how we have been, administering the temples in the past also when we are in power. And also if you see most of the Hindu mutts also, there are good amount of contributions have been given to Hindu mutts also. So we have never forced anybody to come under Muzrai. Come on. So see, whatever Anand is telling, the act, the discussion, the objective, it's a bigger picture, it's a bigger discussion which has to happen across India, not only in Karnataka. So that discussion might happen. That's a separate thing altogether. But coming back to this Gaali Anjaneya Temple and Karnataka issue, we never forced any Hindu temple to take over by Muzrai Department during our rule. In fact, as I told you earlier, we have embarked, in fact, we have given more funds to Hindu temple and we have given more freedom for them to run the temple rather than intervening in their administration like how current
No, but
Congress
Mr.
government
Ramalinga
have
Reddy
done in
has
the
said
past
that during
also.
the BJP tenure, 8 temples were taken over by the BJP. They're being run by the state.
Then
So then,
Sorry, I don't know which temple he is referring to. If he refer a particular specific temple, we can go back and look into it. What happened? What is the legal process? What was the allegation? Whether that was proved in the court and all. Then only I can comment on that.
right, but the point is that the move will always be on the Hindu temples because there is a law that protects it in a secular country where the law is only for the Hindu temples and Hindu religious institutions, but nothing governs the other religious institutions. Yet we are supposed to call ourselves a secular state as per the preamble that was again re-engineered during the time of emergency. So there are a lot of how it happened in the past, and the ghosts of the past continue to haunt us in the present. Whether they'll continue to do so in the future, we'll have to wait and watch. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to our panelists. Dr. Ranganathan stays on with us. Mohan Vishwa and T.R. Prasad Gowda ji, thank you very much. Let's get a move on and shift focus from Karnataka to Uttar Pradesh. The Uttar Pradesh ATS sources have told CNN News 18 that Changur Baba, alias Jalaluddin, had 3,000 men who were engaged in this entire operation conversion in 579 districts across the country. Changur's targets were those districts of the country where Hindus were in majority population. So, viewers, the larger motive was demographic manipulation or alteration of Bharat's demographic breakup. In Hindu majority districts is where they were operating. And one of the victims or survivors this time around, earlier in the day in a press conference said, Changur Baba himself told her that by 2047, all of Bharat will be Islamized. That's the larger objective. Where have we heard this before? With the Popular Front of India. Where have we heard this before? With certain other Islamist, radical Islamist organizations. This entire Ghazwa-e-Hind was being talked about even by Changur Baba and his cronies. Now, he was running a campaign to convert Hindu girls to Islam in these 579 districts with majority Hindu population. His syndicate, Jalaluddin syndicate, used to trap Hindu girls in love by posing as Hindus. Jamaluddin was working on a mission to increase Muslim population in the whole country. With the help of foreign funding, Jalaluddin he is the Changur Baba, Changur Pir Baba. Changur is 6 fingers. Let's call him Jalaluddin and his brother Jamaluddin. They had set up his syndicate in many states, including West Bengal, Kerala, Tamil Nadu. Jalaluddin allegedly told the UP ATS that he was preparing an army of youth only for love jihad or grooming. This is perhaps the most elaborate and widespread grooming gang that's been cracked down by the Uttar Pradesh ATS. Let's go straight across here on the right stand to one of the survivors in this entire controversy of grooming gangs of Uttar Pradesh. Namaste, thank you very much for speaking with us. मेरा पहला प्रश्न, सबसे पहले तो बहुत आपको ताकत और स्ट्रेंथ चाहिए कि वीरता भी आप दिखा रही हैं कि आप सामने आकर कह रही हैं जो आपके साथ हुआ है. मैं आपको बस सबसे पहले नमस्ते करता हूं और आपसे जानना चाहता हूं कि इस जलालुद्दीन उर्फ छंगुर बाबा से आपकी मुलाकात कैसे हुई?
जी, छंगुर से उसे बाबा शब्द का टैग मत दीजिए, सॉरी, वो मौलाना है, वो बाबा कहलाने के लायक नहीं है. उनकी मुलाकात जो है सऊदी में मेरे से फर्स्ट टाइम एक वीडियो कॉल के जरिए हुई थी. जो राजू राठौर उनका एजेंट है, उन्होंने करवाई थी. जब मुझे सऊदी 2021 में बुलाया गया था और ये बोला गया था कि लड़की यहाँ आ गई है, इसका जो है धर्म परिवर्तन करवा दीजिए. उस टाइम पे मेरी उनसे मुलाकात हुई थी.
तो ये छंगुर मौलाना जैसा आप कह रही हैं, आपको कैसे पता चला कि ये कन्वर्जन का पूरा रैकेट है?
जिस वक्त इन लोगों ने मुझे बोला कि आप धर्म परिवर्तन कर लीजिए, गौ मांस खाने को मजबूर कर रहे थे, और जब मैंने मना किया, इन लोगों ने मेरे अश्लील वीडियो बनाई. उसके आधार पर मुझे पता चला कि इनका बहुत बड़ा सरगना है और रैकेट है.
पर क्या आपने और आपके परिवार ने इसके खिलाफ कोई कंप्लेंट की थी?
मेरे परिवार में कोई नहीं है मैम, मैं अकेली हूँ, मैं अनाथ लड़की हूँ, और मैंने अकेली ने SSP ऑफिस, DIG ऑफिस, मुख्यमंत्री जी, प्राइम मिनिस्टर, होम मिनिस्टर, हमारे राष्ट्रपति जी, हर जगह मैंने ईमेल की उसके बावजूद भी जब मेरा दिल नहीं माना तो मैं मुख्यमंत्री कार्यालय लखनऊ स्वयं एप्लीकेशन लेके आई इनकी। और मुझे यहाँ पे मुख्यमंत्री जी नहीं मिले थे लखनऊ में, तो मैंने जो है उनके अधिकारियों को ये एप्लीकेशन दी थी। और पुलिस अधिकारी मुझे इस गौतमपल्ली थाने से सहारनपुर लेके गए थे वहां पे। और पुलिस वालों ने क्या किया, मेरे साथ मारपीट करते हुए लेके गए थे रामवीर साखे जी। और वहां पे जाके उन्होंने मुझे उन्हीं के बीच में छोड़ दिया जिन लोगों ने मेरा गैंग रेप किया था सहारनपुर यूपी में।
अरे बाप रे, पर आपकी कंप्लेंट पे यानी कि कोई एक्शन नहीं लिया गया, किसी ने आपको गंभीरता से नहीं लिया?
एक्शन लिया ही तो नहीं गया ना मैम। SHO जी चंद्रसेन सैनी थे उस वक्त जी। और संजय शर्मा जी थे। 1 महीने बाद ही चंद्रसेन सैनी ने अपना जो है बदली करवा ली गई थी चिलकाना के अंदर, तो कपिल देव जी उनके वहां से यहाँ आ गए और रामवीर साख्या जी उनकी जगह आ गए। तो इन 4 पुलिस अधिकारियों ने मेरी जिंदगी को तहस नहस करके रख दिया। और जो विरोधी पार्टी थी, जो छांगुर के गुर्गे हैं घाना खंडी के अंदर सहारनपुर में, उन लोगों को अप्रोच किया, जबकि उनका बिजनेस है जुआ सट्टा स्मैक का उनका बिजनेस है। उनको अप्रोच करते हैं क्योंकि पुलिस को उनको पैसा मिलता है। मेरे से थोड़ी पुलिस वालों को कुछ मिलेगा, वो मेरी क्यों सुनेंगे। मेरा तो आज तक उन्होंने मेडिकल भी नहीं करवाया मैम, बेसिकली चीज है। और ना ही मेरी FIR दर्ज की। मेरे ऊपर जानलेवा हमले हुए हैं, कम से कम भी 5 टाइम हुए। ये देखे चाकू के घाव दूर से दिखाई दे रहे होंगे मैम,
दिख रहे हैं,
आप देख पा रहे होंगे। और ये मेरे चेहरे की हालत देख सकते हैं कि इतना मेरे साथ उन लोगों ने मारपीट की, मेरे पर जानलेवा हमले किए गए। ये देख निशान मिलेंगे चाकुओं के, आपको चाकुओं के निशान हैं। कहीं पे भी कुछ मेरे साथ पुलिस वालों ने हमदर्दी नहीं की। गैंग रेप हुआ मेरा 13 दिसंबर 2024 को गाना खंडी के अंदर। इनके चाचा जो फरमान है गाना खंडी में सौकात के पुत्र, उन्होंने अपने दोस्तों के साथ मिलकर गैंग रेप किया। प्लास्टिक कवर जला के हाथ पे डाले गए, सिगरेटों से मेरे पाँव जला दिए गए, मेरा गला घोट दिया गया मैम। और मेरे को इतना टॉर्चर किया गया कि वो रूह कांप जाती है मेरी वो रात याद करके। पुलिस अधिकारियों ने मेरी कोई सपोर्ट नहीं की, उल्टा पुलिस प्रशासन ने मेरे पे 1 लाख का दबाव बनाया रामवीर साखे जी ने कि तुम 1 लाख रुपए दो तो तुम्हारे फेवर में हम केस करेंगे। पीड़िता कहाँ जाए, किसको सुनाए अपनी गुहार।
4 पुलिस अधिकारियों ने आपके साथ इस तरह से सलूक किया, आपके साथ इतनी बर्बरता हुई, पर इनको आपने एक और बात कही जो आपके साथ वो बहुत गलत हुआ। लेकिन आपने ये भी कहा कि कुछ ऐसे गुर्गे थे जो किसी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी से थे। क्या ये उनको संरक्षण दे रहे थे? कौन किसको संरक्षण दे रहा था, प्रोटेक्ट कर रहा था?
जिन्होंने गैंग रेप किया उनसे 3 लाख रुपए लेके और उनको अप्रोच किया। मेरे पास पैसा नहीं था देने का, तो मेरी कोई सुनवाई नहीं हुई। मैम कौन है इनके पीछे? आखिर कोई तो बड़ी पार्टी है, छांगुर का हाथ है इनके पीछे। और छांगुर के कम से कम भी 50 से 60 जो है सिक्योरिटी गार्ड है। और सहारनपुर घाना खंडी से लेके मुरादाबाद, मुजफ्फरनगर, देवगंज के अंदर इनके 1000 छांगुर पैदा हो चुके हैं, जो ये बोलते हैं हमें इसको इस्लामिक देश बनाना है।
अरे बाप रे, आप कह रहे हैं कि इस 4-5 जिलों के अंदर ही कई हजार ऐसे छांगुर पैदा हो चुके हैं, ऐसे जल्लाद पैदा हो चुके हैं। लेकिन मैं आपसे जानना चाहता हूं, अब क्या पुलिस कार्रवाई कर रही है? मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ से आप क्या कहना चाहेंगी?
ये टोपी वाले के भाई नहीं होंगे तो हमारे थोड़ी होंगे। हमारे अखिलेश यादव जी का एक भी बयान क्यों नहीं आया है, आप ये बता दीजिए। मेरा तो सत्ता से मेरा तो सवाल है, अखिलेश यादव जी हमारे बाबा भागेश्वर धाम के पीछे पड़े हैं, जबकि वो सनातनियों के हित में बात करते हैं और सच्ची रास्ता दिखाते हैं। अखिलेश यादव जी का एक भी बयान क्यों ना आया? भीम आर्मी वाले जो ये बोलते हैं कि हमारी बहन बेटियां हैं, हम आगे खड़े हैं, उनका कोई बयान क्यों ना आया? और हालांकि मैं भीम आर्मी के चंद्रशेखर जी के घर जाके मिल चुकी हूँ उनसे और अपना तकलीफ उनको बता चुकी हूँ ये बातें, तब भी उनका बयान क्यों नहीं आया? छांगुर के गुर्गे भीम आर्मी से जुड़े हुए हैं। और ये अखिलेश यादव जी जो है इसकी पार्टी में है, इनका क्या कहना है, जितने ज्यादा मुसलमान उतने ज्यादा इनको वोट मिलेगी, उतने इनको सपोर्ट मिलेगी। तो मेरे जैसी लड़की की सुनवाई कहाँ होगी? एक लड़की न्याय की भीख मांग रही है, बार बार अपने न्याय की भीख मांग रही है, लगातार सरकार से गुहार लगा रही है। 6 जून को योगी जी से मैं जनता दरबार गोरखपुर में मिली हूँ, अपनी आवेदन दिया, अपनी तकलीफें बताई और योगी सर ने मुझे आश्वासन दिया कि बेटा तुम्हारी कार्रवाई होगी, और तुम्हारे जो अधिकारी तुम्हारे खिलाफ जो इस पे संज्ञान नहीं लिया, उनके खिलाफ कड़ी कार्रवाई होगी। 7 जून को 25 को हमला होता है, 8 जून को मेरे पे जानलेवा हमला होता है कुल्हाड़ियों से, और मुझे जो हाईवे रोड है पेट्रोल पंप गोपालपुरा का, वहां पे मेरे साथ मारपीट होती, लूट होती है, मेरे साथ मारपीट होती है, और मैं मुकदमा दर्ज करवाती हूँ, मुकदमा दर्ज नहीं होता, किसी तरीके से मुश्किल से मुकदमा दर्ज करवाते हैं। और गोपाल राय जी जो हमारे जो विश्व रक्षा परिषद, जो हिंदू विश्व रक्षा परिषद जो है राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष जी, उन्होंने फोन करके एसएचओ को बोला, इतनी कुछ होने के बावजूद क्या किया तुमने, तो मुकदमा दर्ज किया। और उन्होंने क्या किया, कोर्ट के अंदर चार्जशीट कर दी। जब तक अरेस्टिंग होती है लूट के केस के अंदर, 7 साल के जो 7 साल की केस लूट है मैम, 1 रुपए की 10 की, उसकी 10 साल की सजा है, और 10 साल की सजा में अरेस्टिंग बैठती है 4 लोगों की। उन्होंने कोई अरेस्टिंग नहीं की, उन्होंने चार्जशीट के अंदर लूट की धारा कट कर दी पैसे लेके, और उन्होंने चार्जशीट क्या उनकी धारा लगा दी, और वो भी मेरे पे लगाई। अब एक सोचने की बात है, पुलिस प्रशासन के निंदनीय, मैं निंदा करती हूँ, कड़ी निंदा करती हूँ पुलिस प्रशासन की, कि उन्होंने ऐसा कदम उठाया। एक लड़की को 9 मर्द मार रहे हैं, उसके ऊपर कुल्हाड़ियों के पीछे विंडो से वार किए जाते हैं, उसकी कमर तोड़ दी जाती है, उसकी मांस फट जाता है कमर का, वो उठ नहीं पाती है, और उसकी लूट होती है। लूट की धारा कट करके क्या उनकी धारा लगा के और पैसा लेके छांगुर के गुर्गों के साथ में चाय नाश्ता करते हैं। कड़ी निंदा करती हूँ मैं कपिल देव एसएचओ की, चंद्रसेन सैनी एसएचओ की कड़ी निंदा करती हूँ मैं, संजय शर्मा की कड़ी निंदा करती हूँ, और रामवीर साख्या जी जिन्होंने कसम खा ली है कि वो वर्दी की इज्जत हर हाल मिट्टी में मिला के छोड़ेंगे, और वो छांगुर के गुर्गों का साथ देंगे, चाहे उनकी कुछ भी हो जाए, वो हर हाल उनके साथ रहेंगे। उनकी कड़ी निंदा करती हूँ, और सरकार से मांग करती हूँ कि ऐसे भ्रष्ट पुलिस अधिकारियों की निलंबित किया जाना चाहिए, तुरंत तत्काल में उनको निलंबित किया जाना चाहिए।
देखिए, जो जिन्होंने ऐसा कृत्य किया या जिनकी मदद की, उनके साथ तो सख्त से सख्त एक्शन लेना चाहिए। आपके साथ तो बार बार गलत काम हुआ है, और यहाँ तक कि आपको जान की धमकी दी गई। लेकिन ये आपके साथ, आपने कहा कि आपकी पहली मुलाकात वहाँ सऊदी में हुई, ये गल्फ़ का कनेक्शन क्या है और देशों के साथ ये क्या रैकेट है? ज़रा समझाइए कि ये विस्तार सिर्फ देश भर में है कि यहाँ से बाहर भेजने का भी इनका कोई कार्यक्रम है? क्या साजिश है?
अगर पुलिस एक्शन लेती, मैं यहाँ से 3 जुलाई को हमारे जो विश्व हिंदू रक्षा परिषद की वजह से जो हमारे आयोजन हुआ था, और गोमती नगर के भोलानाथ मंदिर के 15 परिवारों की घर वापसी हुई थी, हमारे लिए खुशनसीबी की बात है, बहुत खुशी की बात है। और पुलिस प्रशासन ने न्यूज़ नहीं देखी, और यहाँ से मैं सीधी एसपी के पास जाती हूँ जब मेरे पे हमला होता है और मुझे जान से मारने की धमकी देती हैं। एसपी साहब अभी लखनऊ से गए हैं, जिसको मैंने सुना है कि सीआईडी के जरिए तेज तर्रार हमारे ऑफिसर है, उसको भेजा गया है न्यायपुरिया की मूर्ति बनाकर। वहाँ पे उनके स्क्रीन पे मेरी न्यूज चल रही है लगातार, उन्होंने न्यूज की तरफ नहीं देखी, अखबार की कटिंग देखा, बोलते इन्होंने अखबार की कटिंग देखा, छांगुर का जिक्र कर दिया होगा। अरे सर, कम से कम ये तो देखो, लड़की एप्लीकेशन कब से लगा रही है। ये एटीएस की जांच चल रही थी, एसटीएफ की जांच चल रही थी, गुप्त जांच थी जो हम ओपन नहीं कर सकते थे। जब जांच हो गई, कंफर्म जांच हो गई है, निष्पक्ष जांच हुई, उसकी गिरफ्तारी हुई, तो हम खुल के बोल रहे हैं। तो एसपी साहब को इस संज्ञान को लेना चाहिए और उन पुलिस अधिकारियों को निलंबित करना चाहिए। वो नहीं करे, हमारे मुख्यमंत्री जी कार्य कर रहे हैं, और जो नीचे के जिला स्तर की पुलिस अधिकारी वो क्या कर रहे हैं? क्या हर काम हमारे मुख्यमंत्री जी ही करेंगे? पुलिस अधिकारी क्या?
पुलिस अधिकारी अगर अपना काम नहीं कर रहे हैं तो उनके खिलाफ एक्शन लेना ज़रूरी है, और इस तरह के जल्लादों के साथ अगर वो उनकी मिली भगत थी तो और कड़ा एक्शन आवश्यक है। लेकिन मैं आपसे इतना जानना चाहूँगा, आपने अपनी व्यथा सुनाई, आपके साथ जो घटा वो शायद किसी के और के साथ नहीं घटना चाहिए, लेकिन ये करते क्या थे? इनका सिंडिकेट कितना बड़ा है मैम, ज़रा ये बताइए, और इनका काम का और किस तरह का एक्शन इनके खिलाफ होना चाहिए?
जैसा छांगुर जिहादी जल्लाद ने किया है उसको फांसी होनी चाहिए, और जो इसके गुर्गे हैं जिन्होंने हमारा गैंग रेप किया वो इनके गुर्गे हैं। मैं चाहती हूँ उनको अरेस्ट करके छांगुर के साथ उनको भी कड़ी सजा दी जाए, या तो उनको इनकाउंटर किया जाए या उनको फांसी की सजा दी जाए, मेरी सरकार से मांग है। और जो हमारे को इंटरनेशनल कॉल से धमकियां मिल रही हैं मैम, अभी 10 तारीख को धमकी आई है सऊदी से, नंबर मैं जारी करना चाहूंगी, यहाँ पे जो नंबर है ये नंबर जारी करना चाहूंगी जिस नंबर से जो है धमकियां मिल रही हैं लगातार। ये नंबर आया है मैं +9 66 55 55 सॉरी +966 555 16 1995 ये सऊदी का नंबर है मैम, देख पा रहे हैं मैम आप?
हाँ जी जी देख रहा हूँ जी, बोलिए। हाँ
और मैम अभी ये लोग ज्यादा करके इंटरनेट का कॉल करते हैं, ये पाकिस्तान के आदमी से हमें धमकियां दिला रहे हैं जो कि सऊदी के अंदर रह रहे हैं, सऊदी के अंदर इनका बिजनेस है और इन्होंने कम से कम भी 5000 लड़कियों का धर्म परिवर्तन करवा चुके हैं। हमारी पुलिस अधिकारियों को जांच करनी चाहिए और हमारी मुख्यमंत्री जी से हमारी हाथ जोड़ के विनती है कि जो इन्होंने इंटरनेशनल कॉल से धमकी दी गई है कि जिन लोगों ने घर वापसी की है 15 ने, हम उनको जान से मार देंगे 2 दिन के अंदर। और जो गोपाल राय जी जो हमारे विश्व हिंदू रक्षा परिषद जो है राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष जी हैं, उनको जान का खतरा है, उनको जान से मारने की कोशिश की और इनका मेन टारगेट मैं हूं क्योंकि मैं इनके सऊदी से लेके इंडिया तक के राज खोल रही हूं, तो मुझे भी जान का खतरा है। ये लोग किसी वक्त भी मेरा मर्डर कर सकते हैं, किसी वक्त भी मेरे को खामोश, और पुलिस प्रशासन के साथ मिला हुआ है। पुलिस वालों के खिलाफ मैं सच्चाई बता रही हूँ, तो पुलिस अधिकारी तो ऑलरेडी मिले हुए हैं। 5 स्टार मिठाइयाँ जो इनसे खाते हैं वो लोग, हमें तो आज तक 5 स्टार मिठाई कभी खाई नहीं है, वो भी पैकिंग के अंदर, और जो किसी के सामने खोली ना जाए ऐसी मिठाई खाते हैं ये। मैं चाहती हूँ योगी सरकार से कि हमारे गोपाल राय जी को तो ज्यादा नहीं तो कम से कम 2 पुलिस अधिकारी जो हैं सुरक्षा में तैनात किए जाना चाहिए। आज उन्होंने 15 लड़कियों की आवाज उठाई है, आगे चलकर गोपाल राय जी 15,000 लड़कियों की आवाज उठाएंगे। और मैं चाहती हूँ कि उनकी सुरक्षा की जिम्मेवारी हमारी सरकार की बनती है, पीड़ितों की जिम्मेवारी सरकार की बनती है, और मेरी सुरक्षा की जिम्मेवारी भी हमारी सरकार की बनती है। और जो ये 4 अधिकारी हैं, चंद्रसेन सैनी SHO, कपिल देव जी SHO, संजय शर्मा जी, रामवीर साख्या जी, इनको तत्काल निलंबित किया जाना चाहिए। मुख्यमंत्री जी से मेरी ये विनती है और मुझे न्याय दिलाना चाहिए। मैं न्याय मांग रही हूँ, मुझे और कुछ नहीं चाहिए, मुझे इंसाफ चाहिए ताकि मैं अपनी हिंदू बहन बेटियों के लिए मिसाल कायम कर सकूं। और ये जो हमारी बहन बेटियां झुक जाती हैं इन लोगों के आगे, इस्लाम के आगे, मैं अपनी बहनों को बोलना चाहूंगी झुकना नहीं है। इन जिहादियों के आगे घुटने टेकने से अच्छा है तुम अपनी जान दे देना, पर जिहादियों के आगे कभी घुटने मत टेकना। अपनी बहन से कुछ देख लो कि जिसकी इन्होंने शक्ल बदल दी है, हड्डी हड्डी तोड़ दी है मेरी मार के इन लोगों ने। मैं अपना धर्म नहीं छोड़ रही हूँ और मैं सोशल मीडिया से अपनी बहनों को बोलूंगी जितना हो दूर रहो और इन लोगों पे कभी विश्वास मत करो, ये अपनी बहनों के नहीं होते, हमारे कहाँ से हो जाएंगे। मैं न्याय की भीख मांग रही हूँ सरकार से, मैं इनके अरेस्टिंग की मांग करती हूँ।
Let's hope, ma'am. Thank you for speaking with us. It's quite painful to listen to what you have to say and what you have shared with our viewers. जो आपने हमारे साथ शेयर किया है, आपकी व्यथा आपने बताई है, काफ़ी दुख झेले हैं आपने, तो इसीलिए आपके इमोशंस के बांध भी टूट रहे हैं, वो दिख रहा है और मैं भी काफ़ी भावुक हो रहा हूँ इसीलिए। लेकिन मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ कि अब तो इसकी इन्वेस्टिगेशन शुरू हो गई है, इसकी तह तक पहुँचे और जो जहाँ जितने रिस्पॉन्सिबल हैं उनको इसकी सज़ा ज़रूर मिले। धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए। Dr. Ranganathan is with us. Dr. Ranganathan, look at the pain that she has, and she's not the only person. She says there are at least 5,000 such girls whose lives have been permanently damaged. There were others also earlier in the day who spoke about what has happened with them. Some forcibly, some by fraud, married, sent across, forced to do things which they don't want to do. They've been subjugated to so much of torture, so much of, and she is looking to the system to help her out, and look how the system also treated her until recently. We really feel helpless, don't we?
To be honest, really it was heartrending to even watch her, to hear her, and I can't even say my sympathies lie with her, because I, like you, my blood is on the boil that somebody had to withstand all this and still this brave woman is able to talk and fight for her rights. Before I want to take a minute to explain what is actually happening, but on many levels, in fact, this corroborates what Dr. Ambedkar said. But before I come to that, I just want to make one clarification, because immediately whenever this topic comes up, you, me, everybody else is immediately branded an Islamophobe, because they say, oh, you're doing Hindu. Look, the issue is not about people following different religions or one religion more than the other. As long as everyone loves and respects India and each other, why should it matter what religion one follows?
Yes.
Unfortunately, though, we live in a real world, Anand, and it does matter. We have seen this all too often. When the newly converted become proverbially more Catholic than the Pope, they begin to espouse values that are not in consonance with Indian values of love and tolerance for everyone and every religious belief. So as soon as demography allows it, the balance tilts. That is the problem. And we've seen this in the Kashmir Valley. How ethnic cleansing of Hindus transpired, how cinema halls were banned, how women were targeted for what they wore, how homosexuals were persecuted, how Sharia was given prominence over constitution. Look, forced conversion or conversion by means of inducement, allure, monetary, social or health benefit or through miracle cure inducement is clearly illegal, should be banned. The problem is not conversion or preaching. No sensible person can be against it. After all, religion is an idea, and a follower of any religion has every right to express that idea and try and convince people to come into his religious fold. Just as I have every right to quote unquote preach science or atheism or Darwin's theory of evolution and try and convince people to leave religion and come into science fold. So I can never be against conversion or proselytization. The issue is forced conversion. Right. And unfortunately, there is a very thin line between ethical conversion and forced conversion, and the purveyors of religion snort it with gay abandon. Anand, the ulterior motive, just 10 seconds. As Dr. Ambedkar said a century ago, to convert Darul Harb into Darul Islam.
Well, it's quite shocking, and the point is that those who are supposed to protect our sisters, protect our daughters, they are the ones who indulged in sending her back into that same hell rather than protecting her. Now, what kind of punishment should be meted out to them? They should not go scot-free. If this Jalaluddin, what he was doing is wrong, those who gave him cover, those who allowed him to spread this over 579 districts in our country, imagine the scale of this network, viewers. What punishment should be meted out to such people for spoiling such innocent lives and putting them through such torture? We leave you with that. Thank you for watching.
Co-presented by This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Okay, a statement coming in right now from Air India. This is about the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, the AAIB report that was released over the weekend, the preliminary report that investigated why the air crash happened in the manner that it did in Ahmedabad. This is the statement that the Air India CEO Campbell Wilson has said. He said the report found no mechanical or maintenance issues with the aircraft or engines, and all mandatory maintenance tasks had been completed. There was no issue with the quality of fuel and no abnormality with the takeoff roll. The pilots had passed their mandatory pre-flight breathalyzer and there were no observations pertaining to their medical status. Now, he's also said, it's important to point, he's also said, I would also remind that out of an abundance of caution and under the oversight of the DGCA, every Boeing 787 aircraft operating in our fleet was checked within days of the accident and all were found fit. We continue to perform all necessary checks. This is the first statement we've got of this nature coming out post the probe report. We'll just go over to reporters to bring you more context. Remember, this is the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau report that came out. Again, it's just the preliminary report. It had just come out. We'll go over to reporters to understand a little bit more around it in just a second. We'll also tell you more about the key questions, because remember, that's what we've focused on in the last few hours, the unanswered questions in this report and what it remains. Remember, the central conclusion right at the heart of that report and of this crash was this question of how the switches transitioned from run to cut-off position within a second of each other, moments after liftoff. And again, this report had highlighted that one of the pilots was recorded asking the other why he cut off the fuel, to which the other pilot responded saying he did not. More than that is not given in terms of transcript between the two pilots in that preliminary report. Now, we'll just go over to our colleague Anvit to understand more. Anvit, the first formal response of Air India CEO Campbell Wilson coming in, How do you read it? He's touched on a few different points. He's touched on the pilot's health. He's talked about the health of the aircraft. Just touch on each of the key points here, then we'll come to you with more questions.
See, first of all, I would like to start with the point that he has made that all the aircrafts were inspected. So, after this incident that happened, DGCA had issued an advisory asking Air India and other airlines to make sure that there are multi-layered inspections of the aircraft, which was done, and DGCA had also later on released a statement saying that majority of these aircrafts are found to be fit for operations. Also, he has made a point on the health of the pilots, and the report, the AIB report, also goes on to mention that the pilots had got adequate rest period, and also the crew that was called to perform duty on the flight, they were also found fit to operate. But when we come to the point of see the switch being transitioning, like you mentioned, from run to cut off, see one pilot has been asked, has the transcript that has been released, it says that one pilot was asking the other as to how did the switch transition, but he says ki I did not do so. So the later the rest of the part of the transcript that has not been made public. So the pilots association, since the beginning, they have been saying that this portion of transcript that has been released, this points out to something happened, something went wrong in the cockpit. So they have been making a point that this completely puts the onus on the pilots, and therefore they are saying that there are certain points that need to be kept in mind. One is that they are saying that the committee that is investigating the matter, there are no undersigned in the report, so their name should have been mentioned. Also, they are demanding that there should be inclusion of pilots who had previously handled Boeing 787. So these are certain points that need to be looked at. But if we talk about the report and this Campbell's statement, see the transition that was made from run to cut off, the report does not go on to mention that whether it was manual or was it mechanical. So we have spoken to officers in DGCA and MUCA as well. So they have also said that these are initial reports, these are only indication as to what happened, but how it happened would probably follow in the later detailed report which the AIB is currently working on. Also remember one thing, that there are certain aspects which are currently under investigation. The data recovered from the FDR, that is also still being analyzed. The fuel that had been recovered from the auxiliary power unit, the APU, that is also still under analysis. So certain areas are still being investigated, and there will be many more additions and findings to this report that has been released. This is a preliminary report. We had also been reporting since the beginning that this report will only tell as to what happened, but how it happened and what led to it, that will follow in the detailed report.
Okay, Amrit, I just want to ask you a question, and we've devoted attention to this on the show. When one takes a look at the preliminary report that had come out, that report talks about the US FAA recommendation about the potential disengagement of the fuel control switch. And Air India had told investigators that the suggested inspections were an advisory and not mandatory, and therefore they had not gone ahead with them. Should we interpret...
Good evening, you're watching Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. After the release of the Air India 171 crash report, now the agencies that are in charge of regulating the aviation space seem to be finally waking up. While the report blamed the transition of the fuel control switches from run to cut off as the reason for the crash, it did not say who was responsible for the crash. Neither did it fix accountability either on Boeing, which is the manufacturer, or on GE, which is the manufacturer of the engine of the 787, or even on Air India, which is the operator of the airline. But by implication, by saying that the fuel cutoff switches had been transitioned from run to cut off within seconds of the flight taking off, the implication of the AIB report was that it was pilot error. At least that is the indicative reason for why flight AI 171 crashed. But here's the problem. The dead pilots cannot defend themselves. So pilot associations are doing the defending of the pilots. And now, a good 6 years later, the DGCA has issued orders to all airlines to check their fuel switch. This is basis an FAA advisory that was issued in 2018. That FAA advisory, parts of it have been quoted in the report as well, the AIB's crash report. At that time, when it was issued, it was a non-mandatory report that's been reiterated in the AIB report as well that was issued on Saturday. But suddenly, today, the DGCA, which is the aviation safety regulator, has woken up 6 years after the FAA non-mandatory advisory that was issued to airlines, and now has asked all airlines in India to be checking all Boeing aircraft, 737, 747, 787s, all Boeing aircraft for their fuel switches. That advisory had said that in some aircraft they had discovered that the fuel switches were automatically getting disengaged. Could the DGCA and other bodies, other agencies whose job it is to oversee aviation safety in this country, could they have not woken up earlier? Could they not have woken up before 260 people died after the crash of AI 171? Now, let's talk about what the DGCA's circular is. They put out a 4 or 5 page circular today asking all Indian airlines to have a thorough examination of these fuel control switches and their locking mechanism. This is once again in focus because the preliminary investigation of the Aircraft Accident Investigation Board, the report that was released on Saturday, seemed to indicate that it was the faulty movement of the fuel control switches that led to the crash of AI 171. Now, this was flagged back in 2018 by the United States Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA. It had sent out an advisory. This was not a mandatory one, this was a non-mandatory advisory. It referred to various Boeing models, the 737, the 787, and said that there was an issue that was cropping up about the automatic disengagement of these fuel cutoff switches and the accidental use of those switches. Air India told the probe team that it had not conducted these inspections as the advisory that was issued was advisory, it was non-mandatory, and it was not meant to be imposed on the airlines, and therefore it did not carry out these specific checks. But today, 2 days after the report of the Aircraft Accident Investigation Board, the aviation regulator DGCA has directed airlines to inspect these fuel switches on the 787s, on the 747s, on the 737s, and do that by the 21st of July across their entire fleet, and then report by the 21st of July. The question again, basic question that needs to be asked, why are you doing this after the accident that killed 260 plus people?
In the latest development surrounding the AI 171 crash, DGCA has come out with an order asking all the airlines to complete inspection of engine fuel switches mandatorily by July 21. In this order has come out after the AIB's detailed report has put fuel engine switch in the epicenter of the investigation, saying that it was the switch that had made transition from run to cut off, cutting down the fuel supply to the engines, leading to dual engine failure following the crash happened that killed more than 260 people on board as well as those on ground. Now, before that, I will take your attention to a previous Federal Aviation Administration's bulletin that had been issued on December 17, 2018, and I read this bulletin was issued based on reports from operators of B737, the Boeing 737 aircraft, and it said that the fuel control switches were installed with locking features disengaged. It said that the airworthiness concern was not considered as unsafe condition that would warrant airworthiness directive by the FAA. Also, the fuel control switch design, including the lock feature, was similar on Boeing's airplanes X787. It had gone on to clearly mention. However, these advisories were not binding, but these were only advisories, so not all airlines had complied on it. But now, waking up, the DGCA has issued a detailed order asking all of the airlines to making sure that a detailed inspection of fuel engine switches is completed by July 21.
Meanwhile, several pilot organizations have rejected the tone and tenor and the implication of the Aircraft Accident Investigation Board's report, which suggested a bias towards pilot error. But the Air India CEO Campbell Wilson has pointed out that the preliminary report did not find any mechanical or maintenance issues with the aircraft or with the engines of the aircraft, nor was there any abnormality during takeoff. But let me tell you what the preliminary report fails to explain. It's a 15-page report by the Aircraft Accident Investigation Board. It reveals that the fuel supply to both the engines, not one, but both the engines, was cut off immediately after takeoff, within 3 seconds of takeoff. There is no clarity, though, on whether this was moved deliberately or accidentally or it was a malfunction. The what is there in the report, but the why and the how is not there in the report. The cockpit audio has captured one pilot, again, they've not identified which pilot, but pilot 1 asking pilot 2, why did you cut off? And the other pilot responding to pilot 1 saying, I did not. Again, the report does not identify either of these two pilots, nor is there any record of the conversations that happened between the two pilots either before or after. It's just two lines. One pilot asking the other, why did you cut off? And the second pilot saying, I did not. But what's the context to that conversation? What do they say before? What do they say after? None of that has been put out in the report. The report also has no mention of the cockpit camera footage which exists on Boeing 787s. Now, this was a mandate that was issued by the FAA, and this has been implemented across the 787s, that there has to be a video camera inside the cockpit. And they have this video camera footage. Why have they not made that public? If they can quote one line each of both of those pilots, why can't they just release the video camera footage, which will put everything into context? And that would explain if either of the pilots actually manually pulled down those fuel cutoff switches, or did it happen automatically, or did it already happen without them noticing, and by the time they noticed, they were already airborne? None of these questions are fully answered in the Aircraft Accident Investigation Board's report. What it does do, though, without actually saying that it was human error or pilot error, without actually alluding to mistakes by the pilot, what it does allude to, the implication of it, is that because the fuel control switches had been transitioned, that's the word that's been used. It's a deliberate use of phrase, transitioned from run to cut off. That's why the fuel flow to both the engines was cut off, and as a result, it was a double engine failure